All right, Greg?
Yep, and
Anything else?
on the 13th, that'll commit us to, commit the state to the funding of the project at the level we talked about before. So we have sent you, and it'll be on the website shortly, what happens with, Kent brought up the code compliant. It's been updated only because we have some costs we could apply to it. And I have to bring up the fact that, yes, we have a gymnasium that's outsized, but the gymnasium also has some spaces in the sub-basement that are inaccessible and need to be taken care of. So no matter what project we do for code compliance, we have to build some classroom, some locker rooms and shower rooms at grade. That's 10,000 square feet. That's $5 million. So that $91 million project for just the code compliance now goes to $96 million. That sounds like a very familiar cost, because that's where we would be if nothing changed on the present project. Again, the present project is to rehab and update Nauset Regional High School, which is 47 years old. Had a small project in 95, 96 to take care of some plumbing issues and some overcrowding issues, and there are still overcrowding issues. Those folks who have gone through the campus, I hope everybody makes the effort to do so by calling the office at 255-1505 and talk to the secretary, Mr. Elsas, or the principal, and schedule a tour. And you see spaces on the campus that are left over from my last project up there in 95, where we didn't have a lot of money to do things, so we ended up using hallways, locker bays, and no windows, no doors, no air conditioning, no heat, no ventilation whatsoever. Those are the kind of spaces that the students are being taught in, and you can hear the results of that. So what I'd like to do is two more things. If we do nothing and nothing happens, folks are gambling with a 47-year-old piece of property, and if tomorrow, I keep using this example, if the heating system failed, and you need to replace the heating system, Massachusetts Code CMR 521, I believe, says that if you have a mechanical system that fails and it's over $500,000, then you have to that triggers the code upgrade for the buildings. And if part of the feasibility study you'll see in the back, what happens is that the code upgrades also get triggered by a 30% value of the property. It quickly, all cascades, all this stuff, it ends up having to be done no matter what. And the MSB is not involved. It's all on the local taxpayers, which is, again, a huge nut and would be much more expensive, and you would not get the same level and quality of repairs and, of education, because you're doing things as the kids are there. There's no portables, there's nothing. So, again, we still think that this is the best bang for the buck with this project. In talking bang for the buck, this is my last piece I have to do for the project. I've been drafted, if you will, to talk about the financing. Very appropriate, we're in front of the Finance Committee tonight. So, what's going to happen is that when this is voted at the four towns, the four towns will be voting on a request from the Nauset Regional School System to incur debt. It's not town debt, it belongs to the Nauset Regional School System. It'll take a series of 8 positive votes. 4 town meetings, a simple majority vote of the 4 town meetings, and a majority vote at the 4 elections of the 4 towns will move this project forward. What the towns are being asked to do is to support a bonding article for the district to bond $131,825,665, but also to accept grants that are being offered to offset that cost. We're the one grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Subsequently, when the debt exclusion is voted at the town elections, and one is May 4th in the town of Wellfleet, the other 3 towns vote May 19th, as they do in Brewster. On May 20th, we will know if this project goes forward. What happens then is that to fund next year, June, the following year, so June of this year, June of 20, through May of 21, we get a bond anticipation note, a BAN, that we would get to hire services of Mr. Kovacs and his company and Richard and his company to do the specs and plans, go out to bid, get the bids back, look at the contractors, make sure they are qualified to bid on the project. Once the contractor's in place and you're ready to go start construction, then a borrowing, an actual bonding of 80 to 90% of the project costs without the MSBA money would then be gone out to bid, and as the project progresses, near the construction at the end, in 2024, a small sum to finish out the borrowing and the project costs, because we'll know what they are by that point. You may not have to borrow that much, but in 2024, the last sum will be borrowed. Once the project is completed in 2024, and then the school department will include in its operating budget to you folks, into the 4 towns. So that's fiscal '25 is when the first bill for this project will come forward. Not until the project is done and all the costs are associated for it. So in Nauset Regional Schools' budget, operating budget, in that year, there will be a new line item, Nauset High School debt. And that debt line item will be part of the assessments to the 4 towns, and it'll be parceled out, as the formula says, by the number of students each town sends. So, to get to that point, the school committee, next month, February 13th, as a matter of fact, will be taking a vote as to which scenario the mortgage will take. And we've asked for 3 different scenarios. One is a 20-year mortgage, a 25-year mortgage, or a 30-year mortgage. And within those 3 choices, there are 2 alternate payment choices. One is a level principal payment, and one's a level debt payment. What I'm going to do is attempt to give you a rough cost estimate based on that, and I just happen to pick a scenario. I don't have a vote in this. I'm on the building committee. I'm not a policymaker. I'm just a citizen, and I'm trying to inform you as to what it's going to cost. But this scenario is going to sound a little bit like those commercials you see on TV at the evening, at mealtime. You take the following pill, it's going to fix this little ache. But the list of caveats are a mile long, and the last one says it may cause death. Hopefully this doesn't cause
And you
death.
don't have to worry about 2025.
So what I'd like to use is a ballpark for the citizens of the town of Brewster for today. I'll use a 25-year mortgage because it's in the middle. An example of level debt annual payment option. And that level debt payment option right now, given to us by Unibank in Boston, has a 4.25% interest rate. Now, we're told to use conservative numbers, and I call it inflated, if you will, numbers, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to make the worst case possible for folks. We know from recent examples that the actual interest rates are in the low 2s to 2.5. So whatever interest is part of this program, and I'll share with you that the interest for that first year is $6.2 million at 4.25%. If in fact the interest rates are half of that, we're going to save a lot of money the first year, so the payments will be a lot less. But I'm going to stick to the rate we have. So at 4.25%, Brewster's share for fiscal '25, when it comes out the first year, will be, let's see, I'm sorry. For the first year, for the town of Brewster, a homeowner who has a home that's $445,000, it will cost them $339 and decrease for the 25 years from that point on. Again, the tax impact will not be till fiscal 2025. The numbers will change because the interest rate will be lower. The project cost will be known, and I'm hopeful, but I'm also sure that the project cost will be lower. So the numbers right now are just an exercise in giving people a what if.